Well, of course I'm still here. Because I have... Oh, God. I've got this Open University woman coming. Because I said... Well, darling, you shouldn't have bothered to prepare dinner, should you? Because I said, I distinctly remember saying that I would be late. Look, darling, yes, I shall probably go to the pub afterwards. Yes, I shall need to go to the pub afterwards. I shall need to wash away the memory of some stupid woman trying to get into the mind of Henry James or whoever it is we're supposed to be teaching on this course. God, why did I take it on? Yes, I suppose I did take it on to pay for the booze. Now, what is it? Well, I don't know. Stick it in the oven. Look, darling, if you are trying to arouse some feeling of guilt in me over the prospects of a burnt dinner, you should have prepared something other than lamb and ratatouille. Because, darling, I like my lamb done to the point of abuse. Yes, and even I know that you cannot burn ratatouille. Darling, you could incinerate ratatouille, it still wouldn't burn. What do you mean, am I determined to go to the pub? I don't need determination to get me to a pub. Look, I've got to go. There's someone at the door. Yes, all right, I promise. Yes, just a couple of pints. 4. Come in. Yes, all right. Bye-bye. Come in.
Coming in, aren't I? It's a stupid bleeding handle on the door. You want to get it fixed?
Yes, well, I suppose I always mean to.
Well, it's no good always meaning to, is it? I mean, one day you'll be shouting, "Come in!" It'll go on forever because the poor sod on the other side of the door won't be able to get in and you won't be able to get out.
Yes, now you are.
What? Sorry? I'm a what?
You are who?
No, what? Ooh, now that's a nice painting, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose it is
It's
nice.
very erotic.
Well, actually, I don't think I've looked at it in about 10 years, but yes, I suppose it is.
There's no supposing about it. Look at those tits. Is it supposed to be erotic? I mean, when he painted it, do you think he meant to turn people on?
Probably.
I bet you did, you know. You don't paint pictures just like that for people doing my other brush strokes, do you?
No, you're probably right.
Yeah, that was pornography of its day, you know. Sort of like men only, isn't it? Except in those days, they weren't allowed to make it erotic, so they used to make it religious, didn't they? Do you think it's erotic?
I think it's very beautiful.
I didn't ask if it was beautiful.
But the term beautiful covers the many feelings I have about the painting, including the feeling that, yes, I think it is erotic.
Do you get a lot like me?
Pardon?
Do you get a lot of students like me?
Well, no, not
No,
actually.
I was dead surprised when they took me on, you know. I don't suppose they would have done it if it was a proper university, but this Open University is different, isn't it?
Well, actually, I've not had much more experience of this than you. This is the first only work I've done.
Oh, do you need the money?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Isn't it terrible these days with the money and that, with inflation and everything? Well, now tell me, you work for the proper university, I mean with the real students. The Open University is different, isn't it?
Yes, it's supposed to embrace a more comprehensive form of studentship, yes.
Degrees for dishwashers?
Would you like to sit down?
No. Can I smoke?
Tobacco?
Is that a joke? Would you like one?
Yes, I'd love one, thank you.
All right, well, here, have one.
No, I don't smoke. I made a promise not to.
Well, I won't tell anyone.
Promise?
Yeah, on my oath as an ex-brownie. I hate smoking on my own, but everyone seems to have packed it up these days. You know, they're all afraid of getting cancer. They're just a bunch of cowards, though.
Are they?
Yeah, you've got to challenge death and disease. I mean, I read this one poem once about fighting death. It was dead good.
Yes, Dylan Thomas.
No, Roger McGough. It was about this old man who runs away from the hospital and goes out on the ale. He gets pissed and stands in the street shouting and challenging death to come out and fight. It's very good.
Yes, well, I don't think I know the piece you mean.
Well, I'll bring you the book. It's great.
Thank you very much.
Except you probably won't like it.
Yes, why?
Well, it's a sort of poetry you can understand.
Ah, I see. Can I offer you a drink?
What?
Scotch?
You want to be careful with that stuff. It'll kill your brain cells.
You have one?
Yeah, all right. You'll probably have a job finding your brain.
Water?
Yeah, all right. Hey, what's this like?
What? Howard's End?
Yeah, it sounds filthy, doesn't it? Yeah, Foster.
Forster.
Oh, yeah, Foster. Well, what's it like?
Borrow it. Read it.
Oh, Tar, I'll look after it. If I pack in the course, I'll post it to you.
Pack it in, why should you do that?
Just might decide it was a soft idea.
Cheers. Well, if you're already contemplating packing it in, why did you enroll in the first place?
Because I want to know.
Oh, what is it you want to know?
Oh, everything.
Everything. Ooh, that's rather a lot, isn't it? Where do you want to start?
Well, I'm a student now, aren't I? I mean, I'm going to have to do exams, aren't I?
Yes, eventually.
I'm going to have to learn all about it, aren't I? You know, it's like you sit there, don't you, and you watch the ballet or the opera on the television and you think it's rubbish because that's what it looks like, just because you don't understand. So you switch it off and you say, well, that was fucking rubbish.
Do you?
I do, but I don't want, I want to see. You don't mind me swearing, do you?
Not at all.
Do you swear?
Never stop.
See, it's like that with the educated classes, isn't it? They know it's only words. It's only the masses who don't understand. I do it to shock them sometimes. You know, when I'm in the hairdressers, that's where I work. I'll say something like, oh, I'm really fucked. Doesn't have to cause a fuss.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it doesn't cause any sort of fuss with the educated people. They know it's only words. They don't worry about it. It's only the stuck-up idiots I meet. They think they're royalty because they don't swear. I wouldn't mind, but it's the aristocracy that swears more than anyone, isn't it? I mean, they're effing and blinding all day long, aren't they? It's all past the fucking grounds with them, isn't it? Yeah, but you can't tell in that round now. It's not their fault. They can't help it. Do you know, sometimes I hate them. Oh, God, what's it like to be free?
Oh, there's a question. Would you like another drink?
You know, if I'd got another tutor, I wouldn't have stayed.
What sort of other tutor?
You know, someone who objected to swearing and
And
that.
how did you know I wouldn't object?
I didn't. I was testing you.
Yes, you're doing rather a lot of that, aren't you?
I know, I do that when I'm nervous, you know.
How am I scoring so far?
Very good. 10 out of 10. Go to the top of the class, get a gold star. Oh, I love this room, you know. I love that window too. Do you like it?
What?
The window.
Oh, I don't actually consider it very much. I sometimes get the urge to throw something through it.
What?
A student, usually.
You're bleeding mad, aren't you?
Probably.
Aren't you supposed to be interviewing me?
Do I need to?
I talk too much, don't I? I know I talk a lot. I hardly ever talk when I'm at home, though. I never talk when I'm there. But I don't often get the chance to talk to someone like you. You know, to talk at you. Do you mind?
Would you be at all bothered if I did? No, I don't mind.
Hey, what does assonance mean? Well, don't laugh at me.
No, I'm sorry. Assonance, yes. Assonance is a form of rhyme. Now, let me see. What's a good example of assonance? Do you know Yeats?
The Wine Lodge.
Yeats. Poem.
No.
Well, there's a Yeats poem called The Wild Swans Are Cool, and in it he rhymes the word swan with the word stone there. You see, you have an example of assonance.
Oh, means getting the rhyme wrong.
I suppose you could say that. I've never looked at it like that, but you could say it means getting the rhyme wrong, but purposefully, in order to achieve a certain effect.
There's loads I don't know.
Yes, and you want to know everything. And now you are...
Rita?
But it says here, Mrs. S. White.
Oh, that's just S for Susan. That's my real name. I've changed it, though, to Rita. You see, I'm not a Susan anymore. I've called myself Rita after Rita Mae Brown.
Who?
Rita Mae Brown. You know, she wrote Ruby Through Jungle. You haven't read it? It's a fantastic book. Do you want to borrow it?
Yes, I'm sure I'll be delighted.
Right. Well, what's your name, then?
Frank.
Not after Frank Harris.
Not after Frank, anyone.
Well, maybe your parents named you, you know, after the quality. You know, Frank Ness, Elliot's brother.
What?
Sorry, just a little joke. Frank Ness, Elliot's brother.
Ah.
You haven't got it, have you? Elliot Ness was a famous Chicago copper who caught Al Capone.
Ah. When you said Eliot, I thought you meant T.S. Eliot.
Have you read his stuff?
Yes.
All of it?
Every last syllable.
Honest? I couldn't even get through one poem. I read one that he wrote. It was called J. Arthur Prufrock. I couldn't even finish it.
J. Alfred.
What?
I think you will find it was J. Alfred, Rita. J. Arthur is something else altogether.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Haven't I? I've got a lot to learn, haven't I?
You're a ladies' hairdresser.
Yeah?
Are you a good one?
Yeah, I am when I want to be. Most of the time I don't want to, though. They get on my nerves.
Who?
The women, they never tell you things that matter. You know, it's like a perm. You know, you can't use strong perm lotions on certain heads that have had cheap bleaches. It makes all the hair break off. At least once a month I'll get a customer who swears to God she's going to have me bleaching her hair. I mean, I can tell, you can just see it. So, you go ahead, you do the perm, the next thing she comes out the dryer with half an inch of stubble.
Well, And then what do you do?
Try and sell them a wig.
Oh my God.
Yeah, women who want their hair doing, there's nothing to stop them. Even the pensioners, you know. They'll come in, they won't tell you they've got a hearing aid. The next thing, snuff another deaf granny for a fortnight. I'm always doing that, you know, putting hearing aid cord in your license plate.
Yes, you sound like something of a liability.
Yeah, I am. But they expect too much. You know, these women, they come into the hairdressers because they want to walk out looking like a different person an hour later. I always tell them I'm just a hairdresser, not a friggin' plastic surgeon. And then it's worse when there's a fad on, you know, like Farrah Fawcett Majors.
Who?
Farrah Fawcett Majors. You know, she was one of them Chinese angels, that teleprogram on the ITV. You wouldn't be watching ITV though, would you? It's all BBC with you, isn't it?
Well, I must
It's all right. I said to myself, the moment I walked in, I said, you could tell he's a flora man.
A what?
A flora man.
Flora Flowers?
No, flora the bleeding margarine, no cholesterol, for people like you eat Pebble Dash bread. No, that bread with the hard bits in it, like Pebble Dash.
Aha, Pebble Dash bread.
Quick, he's like lightning. Now, you see, these women, they come in because they want to change, but if you want to change, you've got to do it from the inside, don't you? You know, like I'm trying to do. I mean, do you think I'm going to be able to do this?
Well, it all depends on you and how committed you are. Are you really serious
I'm
about
dead
wanting to...
serious. I mean, I know I take the piss in that, but I'm dead serious, really. You see, the only reason I take the piss in that is because I'm not confident, like, but I want to be honest.
Do you know, I think you're marvellous.
Oh, now he's taking the piss.
No, really. I think you're the first breath of air that's moved in, that's come into this room in years.
Oh, stop taking the piss.
Don't you recognise a compliment?
Go away.
Where to?
Don't be soft, you know what I mean.
No, Rita, I really do. Tell me what suddenly brought you to all this?
What, coming here? I know it's not sudden. I've been realising for ages that I'm, you know, slightly out of step. I mean, I'm 26, I should have had a baby by now. Everyone expects it. My husband, I'm sure he thinks I'm sterile. He keeps moaning at me. Come off the pill, let's have a baby. Told him I had just to shut him up, but I haven't really. I'm still on it. Now, you see, I don't want to have a baby yet. I want to discover myself first. Do you understand that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you see, they wouldn't where I come from. They think I'm mental. Yeah, between me and you, I tried explaining it to my husband, but I think he's thick. No, he's not thick. He's just blind. He doesn't want to see. You know, it's like if I'm reading something or watching something, you know, different on the television, he gets dead knocked. I used to tell him to piss off, but I knew that didn't do any good. I had to explain it to him. So I tried explaining to him that I wanted a better way of living my life, and he listened, but he didn't understand. Because when I finished, he said he agreed with me and that we should save all our money and move off the estate and get a nice house in Formby. Frank, even if it was a nice house I wanted, I wouldn't go live in Formby. I hate that hole, don't you?
Oh, God, yes.
Well, where do you live?
Formby. Another drink? Mind if I do?
No, it's your brain cells you're killing.
All dead a long time ago, I'm afraid.
When do you actually, you know, start teaching me?
What can I teach you?
Everything.
Look, I'll make a bargain with you. I will tell you everything I know, but if I do that, you must promise never to come back here again. I never really wanted to take this course on in the first place. I knew I was wrong. Seeing you only confirms my suspicions. My dear, it's not your fault. It's just the luck of the draw that you got me, but get me you did. And between you, me, and the walls, I'm actually an appalling teacher. Most of the time, it doesn't matter. Appalling teaching is quite in order. For most of my appalling students. And the others, they manage to get by despite me. But you're different. You want a lot. I can't give it. Now, everything I know, now you must listen to this. Everything I know is that I know absolutely nothing. I don't even like the hours of this thing. It's ridiculous. They expect us to teach when the pubs are open. I could be a great teacher if I were in the pub. 4 pints of weak Guinness. I could be as witty as wild. No, I'm sorry. There are other tutors. I'll refer you. I'm sorry.
You listen to me. Listen, I'm on this course, you're my tutor, so you bleeding well going to teach me?
Look, there are other tutors.
I don't want another tutor, you're my tutor.
For God's sake, woman, why come to me? There are other
No,
tutors.
but you
I
might-
told you. Well, why come to me? I told you I
Because
don't
you're
know
a
what to do
crazy
with.
mad piss artist who likes to throw his students out the window, and I like you. Well, don't you know how to take a compliment?
Do you think I could have a cigarette?
Yeah, when I come next week...
You're not coming here next week?
I am, and I'm going to give you a haircut.
I am not getting my hair cut.
Well, I suppose you want to go around looking like that, do you?
Like what?
A geriatric punk. I was just oiling it for you. I knew you wouldn't get round to it. Well, yeah, you can have that.
Oh, thanks.
What are you looking at?
Don't you ever just walk into a room and sit down?
No, not when I've got to sit with me back to the door.
Oh, well, to make you happy, you take my chair.
No, you're the teacher. You've got to sit here.
It doesn't matter where I sit. If you'll be happier with my chair, you sit there.
What do you call this, democracy at work? No, I don't want to sit down anyway. I like walking around this room. How'd you make a room like this anyway?
I didn't make it. I just moved in. The rest sort of happened.
Yeah, that's because you got taste. I'm going to have a room just like this one day. You know, there's nothing phony about it. Everything's in its right place. It's a mess, but it's a perfect mess. It's like wherever you've put something, it's sort of grown to fit there, hasn't it?
You mean that over the years, the room has acquired a certain patina?
Do I?
I think you do.
Yeah. Over the years, it's acquired a certain patina. It sounds like something from a romantic film, you know. Over the years, your face has acquired a certain patina. You haven't been drinking, have you?
No.
Is that because of me? Because of what I said last week?
God, you think you've reformed me?
No, I don't want to reform you. You can do what you like. You know, I love that lawn down there, but in summer, do they all sit on it?
Who?
The ones who come here all the time, the proper students.
Oh, yes, first glimmer of sun, they're all out there.
Reading and studying?
Reading and studying? My God. Do you think they're human? Proper students don't read and study.
What?
It's a joke, yes. They read and study sometimes.
You know, this looks like I always imagined a public school to look, you know, a boarding school. When I was a kid, I always wanted to go to a school like that.
Why?
I don't know, they always sounded great, schools like that, you know, with a matron and a tuck shop and a prep. You know, always a pair of kids called Jones Minor or Jones Major. Told me mother once, she said I was off my cake.
What in the name of heaven is being off one's cake?
Soft, you know, mental.
Ah. Oh, I must remember that one, because the next student to ask me if Isabel Archer was guilty of Protestant masochism shall be told that one is very obviously off one's cake.
Don't be soft, you can't say that.
Why ever not?
If you said it, it would be slumming it. I mean, coming from you, it would sound dead affected, wouldn't it?
Dead affected?
Yeah, you try to say that to your proper students, and you know, they'll think
I
that
don't
you-
think I was off my cake. Rita, what I want to know is why you never became what you call a proper student.
What, after going to the school I went
Was
to?
it bad?
Nah, just normal. You know, boring, ripped up books, broken glass everywhere, knives, fights. That was just a staff room. Now, I suppose they tried telling us that we stood more of a chance if we studied, but studying was for the wimps. I mean, if I'd taken studying seriously, I would have had to become different to me mates, and that's not allowed.
By who?
By your mates, your family, by everyone, so you never think of school as anything other than useless. Now, you see, because what you've got to be into is like music, you know, looking for a new fella, clothes, the real qualities of life. Not that I went along with it too reluctantly, but there was always something tapping away in the back of my head, telling me that I might have it all wrong. So I just play another record or buy a new dress, stop worrying. You know, there's always something to help you forget about it, and you do. You keep going, telling yourself life's great. There's always another club to go to, a new fella to be chasing, laughing a joke with the girls. So one day you own up to yourself and you say, is this it? Is this the absolute maximum this living thing has to offer? And that's a big moment. That one. That's the point when you have to decide whether it's going to be another change in dress or change in yourself. And it's really tempting to go out and get a new dress. It is, you know, because it's easy, it doesn't cost anything, and it doesn't upset anyone around you because they don't want you to change.
But you managed to resist another dress.
Yeah, can't you tell? Look at the state of these. Haven't bought new clothes in 12 months. I don't intend to either, not till I pass my first exam. Then they're going to buy me a proper dress. You know, the sort of dress you only ever see on an educated woman. You know, the sort of woman who knows the difference between Jane Austen and Tracy Austen. Well, let's start.
Yes. Now, that piece you wrote me on, what was it called?
Ruby Fruit Jungle?
Yes, well, it was,
Crap.
No. It was a descriptive piece. It was an appreciation. What you have to try to remember is criticism.
Well, what's the difference?
Well, you must remember that criticism is purely objective, and it should be approached almost as a science, and it should be supported by reference to established literary critique. Criticism is never subjective, and it should not be confused with partisan interpretation. Criticism sentiment has no place. Tell me, what did you think of Howard's End?
It was crap.
What?
I thought it was crap.
And who are you citing in support of your thesis? F.R. Levis?
No, me.
What have I just said? Me is subjective.
Yeah, but it's what I think.
You think it is crap. But will you kindly tell me why you think it is, quote, crap, unquote?
Yeah, I'll tell you. It's crap because the fellow who wrote it was a louse. Because halfway through the book, I couldn't go and read it because he, Mr. E.M. Bleeding Forster, says, quote, "We are not concerned with the poor," unquote. That's why it's crap. That's why I didn't go on reading it.
Because he said we are not concerned with the poor.
Yeah, that's
But he
it.
wasn't writing about the poor.
Yeah, but when he wrote this book, the conditions of the poor in this country were appalling, and he said he couldn't care less, Mr. E.M. Bleeding Forster.
Forster.
I don't care what his name is. He's sitting up there in his ivory tower saying he couldn't care less. But don't laugh at me.
Rita, you cannot possibly interpret E.M. Forster from a Marxist viewpoint.
Why?
Look, before even discussing this, I said no subjectivity, no sentimentality.
I wasn't being
Of course you
sentimental.
were being sentimental. You stopped reading the book because you wanted Forster to concern himself with the poor. Literature can ignore the poor.
Yeah, but it's immoral.
Amoral, but you wanted to know. Do you see what sort of a mark you get if you approached Forster this way during an examination?
What sort?
1, maybe 2%, if the examiner were at all sympathetic to the one dubious quality your criticism displays.
What's that?
Brevity.
All right, I just hated that book. Can we do something else? Can we do something I like?
The sort of thing you like is not necessarily the sort of thing that will make up the basis of your examination next Christmas. If you're going to pass any sort of an exam, you are going to have to discipline that mind of yours.
Are you married?
Oh, God.
Are you not wife?
Is my wife at all relevant?
I don't know. You married her. You should know.
Well, my wife is not. I haven't seen her for a long while. We split up, all right?
I'm sorry
Why are you sorry?
for asking. You know, being nosy.
Now, the thing
Why
about...
did you split up?
Perhaps you'd like to take notes. And when you have to answer a question on Forster, you can treat the examiner to an essay entitled Frank's Marriage.
I'd go away. I'm only interested.
We split up, Rita, because of poetry.
What?
My wife pointed out to me that my sole output as a poet had, over the period of 15 years, had consisted of the period of time in which we discovered each other.
Are you a poet?
Was, and so to give me something new to write about, she left. A very noble woman, my wife, she left me for the good of literature.
And what happened?
She was right. Her leaving was an enormous benefit to literature.
Oh, you wrote a load of good stuff.
No, I stopped writing altogether.
You're taking the piss.
No.
I mean, people don't split up because of things like that, because of literature and that, do they?
Perhaps not, but anyway, that's the way I remember it.
Are you a famous poet?
I sold a few books and they're all out of print now.
Can I read some of your stuff?
It's the sort of poetry you cannot understand, unless you have a detailed knowledge of the literary references.
Ah. Do you live on your own then?
Oh my God, Rita.
Oh, I'd only asked.
I live with a girl, an ex-student. She's very caring, she's very fond of me, and she admires me enormously and spends a great deal of time putting her head in the oven.
She tried to do herself in there.
No, she likes to watch the ratatouille cook. Ratatouille. Though Julia has renamed it the stop-south dish. You see, it can simmer in an oven for days. In our house, it often has no choice.
Do you stop out for days?
Occasionally. Now that's
Like
enough.
Julia.
Rita, that is the end of that.
You know, if you were mine and you stopped out for days, you'd never get back in.
Rita, if I were yours, would I stop out for days?
Oh, don't you like Julia then?
I admire her enormously. It's myself I am not too fond of.
Oh, but you're a great...
Oh, well, thank you, Rita. Thank you for that vote of confidence. But you will soon discover that there's less to me than meets the eye.
See, look, you can say dead clever things like that. I wish I could talk like that. It's brilliant.
Staggering. Howard's End.
Oh, you just forget him. I just like talking to you. It's great. You know that's what's wrong with school these days. I mean, they get you talking and you're all talking about something, having a great time. The next thing they want to do is turn it into a lesson. I remember we were out with a teacher once, outside the school. I was at the back with all these other kids. The next thing I saw this fantastic bird. All colourful it was, dead out of place round our way. I was just about to tell Miss when this kid next to me says, you better keep your mouth shut, she'll make you write an essay on it.
Yes, Rita, we call that education.
What, do you think there was something wrong with education to hear you talk?
Well, perhaps there is.
Well, what do you want to give me an education for then?
Because that's what you want. Right now, I'd rather take you by the hand and run out of this room forever.
I'd be serious.
I am. Right now, there are 1,000 things I'd rather do. Most of them with you, young lady.
Oh, sod off. You just like saying things like that.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, Rita, why didn't you walk into this room 20 years ago?
Because I don't think they would have accepted me at the age of 6.
You know what I mean.
I know, Frank, but it's not 20 years ago, it's now, and you're there and I'm here.
Yes, and you are here for an education. Now, you must keep reminding me of that. Now, come on, Boston.
I forget him.
Look, you listen to me. You said that you wanted to know. You said that I was going to teach you. Well, I'm afraid that means a lot of hard work. You've not even had a basic education. You've never passed an examination in your life. Possessing a hungry mind is not in itself a guarantee of success.
All right. I just hated Howard's bleeding egg.
All right. You go back to what you do like and stop wasting my time. You go out buy yourself a new dress. I'll go to the pub.
Is that you, putting your foot down?
It is, actually.
Aren't you impressive when you're angry?
Foster.
All right, I'll do it. Foster. Hey, does Foster's repeated use of the phrase only connect suggest that he was really a frustrated electrician?
Rita.
I mean, considering that was it, this would be the 13-amp plug. Frank, it's boring, that's what it is. It's just bleeding boring. Honestly, this Foster fella, he doesn't ask it on me tips.
Ooh, good. You must show me the evidence.
Dirty sod.
True. It's cutting down on the booze that does it. Rita, what's this?
It's a bleeding piece of paper, isn't it?
It's your essay. Is it a joke?
No.
Is it?
No, it's not a joke.
Rita, how the hell can anybody write an essay on E.M. Foster with almost total reference to Harold Robbins?
Well, you said to bring in other authors. Don't go on at me. You said that reference to other authors will impress the examiners.
I said refer to other works. I don't believe the examiner, God bless him, will have read A Stone for Danny Fisher.
Well, that's his hard luck, isn't it?
It'll be your hard luck when he fails your paper.
Oh, that's prime, isn't it? That's justice for you. I get failed just because I'm more well-read than a friggin' examiner.
Non-fiction is not being well-read.
Well, I thought reading was supposed to be good for you.
It is, but you've got to be more selective in your choice of reading material. However, you do mention in here, somewhere in here, Sons and Lovers. Now, when did you read that?
This week I read that and the Robbins book and this other dead fantastic book. What was it? It sounded like something dead perverted, it did. It was by the English fella.
Which English fella?
You know, the one who's like Noel Coward. Oh, I know, Somerset Maugham.
Perverted novel by Somerset Maugham?
No, it wasn't perverted. It was great. The title just sounds perverted.
Ah, Human Bondage.
Yeah, well, that's the one. It does sound perverted.
Well, now, you read 3 novels this week.
Yeah, we were dead quiet in the shop.
Now, if I asked you to make a comparison between the Harold Robbins and the other 2, what would you say?
They were all good in their own way.
But surely you can tell the difference between the Harold Robbins and the other 2?
You mean apart from one being American, like?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the others are sort of posher, aren't they? But then they're all books, aren't they?
Yes, you seem to be under the impression that all books are literature.
Aren't they?
No.
Well, how'd you tell?
Well, I don't know. One has always known, really.
Yeah, but Frank, how'd you work it out if you don't know? I mean, you see, that's what I've got to learn. I'm dead ignorant.
No, you're not. It's just a question of becoming more discerning in your choice of reading material.
I've got no taste. Is that what you're saying?
No?
No, Tis, it doesn't matter. You won't hurt my feelings. You see, my mind's so full of junk. What it needs is a good clearing out. Right. I am never going to read another Robin's book again.
Oh, no, by all means read it. But don't mention it in an exam.
Oh, I know what you're saying. You're saying it's all right to go and have a bit of slap and tickle on the side with the lads, as long as you don't go home and tell your mum.
Yes, that's probably what I am saying.
It's just dead boring, Frank. It's no good. I just can't understand it. It's all right for you saying that. You know what it's about. I just can't figure it, though.
Rita, do you think we can forget about Forster just for the moment?
Oh, with pleasure, Frank.
Rita, I want to talk to you about this that you sent me.
That?
Mm-hmm. In response to the question, suggest how you would resolve the staging difficulties in a production of Ibsen's Peer Gynt, you have written, quote, do it on the radio.
Precisely. What?
Well, I know it's quite naive of me, but I did think you might have let me have a considered essay.
Yeah, well, we didn't have much time this week. I was dead busy in the shop, you know.
You do your essays at work?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, Denny gets dead not to do me work at home. He hates me doing this. I can't be bothered arguing with him.
Yes, well, you can't keep on producing work as thin as this.
Is it wrong?
No, it's not
Well,
wrong.
I know it's short, but I thought it was the right answer.
Rita, one line is the basis of an argument. It is hardly an essay.
Yeah, but I didn't have much time, so I sort of, you know, encapsulated all my ideas into one line.
But it's not enough.
Why not?
It just isn't.
Well, that's stupid, isn't it? I mean, you say, don't you, that one line of exquisite poetry says more than 1,000 pages of second-rate prose.
You're not writing poetry. Look, Rita, what I'm trying to make you see is that there is an expected way of answering examination questions. It's a sort of ritual. It's a game with rules. You have got to observe those rules. Now, when I was at university, there was a student taking his final theology exam. He entered the examination hall, he took out his pen, and he wrote, God knows all the answers. Handed in his paper and left.
Did it?
And when his paper was returned to him, his professor had written on it, and God gives out the marks.
Did he fail?
Of course he failed. You see, Rita, a clever answer is not necessarily the correct answer.
I wasn't trying to be clever, Frank. I just didn't have much time.
All right, you've got some time now. Just give it a quarter of an hour or so. Adding some considered argument to this, in attempting to resolve the staging difficulties of Ibsen's Peer Gynt, I will present it on the radio because, and then outline your objectives, supporting them as much as possible, but with references to established literary critique. All right?
Yeah, all right.
Are you sure you understand?
Yeah, what do you think I am? Thick? You know, Peer Gynt, he was searching for the meaning of life, wasn't he?
Put at its briefest, yes.
Yeah. Well, I was doing this woman's hair on Wednesday. I'm gonna do it. Don't worry, I'll do it. I just want to tell you. I was doing her hair, and I was dead bored with what everyone was talking about in the shop. So I said to her, do you know about Peer Gynt? Frank, she thought it was a new perm lotion.
It's a stitch.
Anyway, I told her about away and everything, you know, and you know something, Frank, she was dead interested, she was, you know.
Was she?
Yeah. She said, I wish I could go out searching for the meaning of life. And you know, there are loads of them round by us who feel like that, because round by us there is no meaning to life. You know, culture, the word culture, it doesn't just mean going to the opera, that does it?
No.
No. It means a way of living, doesn't it? Well, we've got no culture.
Of course you have.
What, do you mean that working class people thing? Yeah, I've read about it, never seen it though.
Well, then just look around you.
I have, but I've never seen any, you know, culture. I just see everyone pissed on the Valiant trying to get from one day to the next. But they're proud. They'll tell you they've got cultures. They sip on their keg beer out of plastic glasses.
But there's nothing wrong with that, Rita, as long as they're content with it.
But there's not, because there's no meaning to it. You know, they'll tell you stories from the past, you know, the war, or when they were fighting for houses and clothes and food, and when they tell you those stories, their eyes light up because there was some meaning to it. But the thing is it now, I mean, now that most of them have got some sort of house, and there's food and money around, they know they're better off. But honestly, they also know they've got nothing as well. You see, there's a sort of disease, but no one mentions it. Everyone behaves like it's normal, you know, inevitable that there's vandalism, violence, houses burned out and wrecked by the people they were built for. There's something wrong, and the worst thing is that, you know, the people who, like, represent the people in our estate, like the Daily Mirror, the Sun, ITV, the unions and that, what are they telling the people to do? They're telling them how to go out and get more money, but they don't want more money, do they? It's like me, isn't it? It's like me going out and buying new dresses, isn't it? I mean, the unions are telling them how to go and get the money, and the newspapers and television are telling them what to spend it on, so the disease is always covered up.
Why didn't you take a course in politics?
Go away, I hate politics. I'm just telling you about round our way. You see, I want to be on this course finding out. You know what I learned from you, Frank, you know, about art and literature and that? It sort of feeds me inside. I mean, I can get through the rest of the week if I know that I've got coming here to look forward to. See, Denny tried to stop me from coming here tonight. He tried to get me to go to the pub with him and his mates. He hates me doing this. It's just like drug addicts. They hate it when one of them tries to break away. Coming here makes me stronger, that is what Denny's frightened of.
Only connect.
Oh, not friggin' Forster again, I don't believe.
Only connect, don't you see what you're doing?
Telling you about how?
Yes, and connecting. Your dresses, the ITV, the Daily Mirror, you and your husband, drug addict.
Oh! And in that book nobody does connect.
You see?
Is that it? Is that all this whole thing means?
Irony.
But Frank, why the hell didn't you just tell me that right from the start?
Peter, I could have done it. But you have a much better understanding of something if you discover it in your own terms.
Aren't you clever?
Brilliant. Now, Peer Gynt.
All right, just give me a minute.
What?
I've done it!
You've done it. In attempting to resolve the staging difficulties in a production of Ibsen's Peer Gynt, I would present it on the radio because, as Ibsen himself says, he wrote the play as a play for voices, never intending it to go on in the theatre. If they had the radio in his day, that's where he would have done it. This is getting to be a little bit wearisome. Whenever you come into this room, you will do anything except start work immediately. Where's your essay?
Haven't got it.
Oh, you haven't done it.
I said I haven't got it.
Ah, you've lost it.
It's burned.
Oh, it's burned.
So all the Chekhov books you lent me, then he found out I was on the pill again.
Oh, Christ.
It was my fault. I left my prescription out, so he just burned me books. I'm sorry, I'll buy you some new ones.
I wasn't referring to the books. Sod the books.
Why can't he just let me get on with me learning? You'd think I was having a bloody affair the way it carries on.
Oh, aren't you?
No. What time have I got for an affair? I'm busy enough finding myself, let alone finding someone else. I don't watch anyone else. I've just begun to find me, and it's great, Frank. You know, it is. It might sound selfish, but it's all I want for the time being is what I'm finding inside of me. The last thing I need to be doing is chasing a fella, because the first thing I'll have to do is forget about me for the sake of him.
Well, perhaps your husband thinks that you're having an affair with me.
Oh, go away. You're my teacher. I've told him that.
You told him about me?
Yeah.
What?
I told him, explain to him that you, give me room to breathe. You know, you, feed me without expecting anything in return.
Oh, and then what did he say?
He didn't know his art. When I came back, he burnt me books. Well, most of them. I said to him, you soft git. Even if I was having an affair, there's not much point in burning me books. I'm not having it off with Anton Chekhov. So he just said to me, I wouldn't put it past you to shack up with a foreigner.
What are you going to do?
I'll order some new books and I'll do the essay again.
I mean about your husband.
I told him, I said, there's not much point in crying over spilled milk. The books are gone, but if you touch me again, I'll kill you.
Oh, Rita, be serious.
I was, Frank.
Well, do you love him?
I sometimes see him looking at me and I know what he's thinking. I do, you know. He's wondering where the girl he married has gone to. He sometimes even brings me presents, hoping that the presents will make her come back. But she can't because she's gone and I've taken her place.
Well, do you want to abandon this course?
No. No!
Well, perhaps, when art and literature take the place of life itself, then perhaps
No, but
it's
it's
time
not taking the place of life. It's providing me with life itself. He's trying to take life away from me. He wants me to stop rocking the coffin, that's all. I mean, coming here and doing this is giving me more life than I've had in years, and he should be able to see that. If he doesn't want me when I'm alive, I'm certainly not going to lie down and die for him.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I'd only have a baby when I had a choice, but he doesn't understand. He thinks we've got a choice when we can go into a pub that sells 8 different kinds of lager. He thinks we've got a choice already because we can choose between Everton and Liverpool, or choose between washing powders, choosing between one lousy school and the next, or a lousy job and on the dole, choosing between stock and butter.
Yes, well, perhaps your husband...
I don't want to talk about my husband. Frank, why was Chekhov a comic genius?
Oh, Rita, don't you think that for tonight we can forget about this?
No, I want to do this, Frank. I've got to do it. He can burn me books and me papers, but if it's all in me head, you can't touch it. I mean, it's like that with you, isn't it? You've got it all inside, haven't you?
Rita, let's just forget it for tonight. Come on, let's go down to the pub. Let's go drink pots of Guinness and talk.
I have got to do this, Frank. I've got to. I want to talk about Chekhov.
We really should talk about you
Well, I
again,
don't
my
want
dear.
to.
All right. Chekhov. C for Chekhov. Talk about Chekhov and pretend that this is the pub.
Frank, why do you keep it stashed up there?
Oh, it's just a little arrangement I have with my immediate superiors. It's called discretion. They didn't tell me to stop drinking. They merely told me to stop displaying the signs.
Would you actually like drinking?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely no guilt at all about it.
When you were a poet, did you drink then?
Some. Oh, not as much as now. You know, Rita, the great thing about the booze is that under all this talk, it really makes one feel that one is actually saying something.
Hey, Frank, why'd you stop being a poet?
That's a pub question.
Yeah, well, I thought we were pretending this was a pub.
Yes, which we would discuss. Chekhov.
Yeah, well, he's second on the list. You're on first. Come on, why'd you stop?
Well, I didn't so much as stop as realize I never was. You see, I got it all wrong. Instead of writing poetry, I spent years and years trying to create literature, you see.
I thought that that's what poets did.
What?
Make literature.
Oh, no, poets shouldn't believe in literature.
Nah, I don't understand that.
Oh, you will,
No, sometimes I wonder if I'll ever understand any of it. I mean, it's like starting over, with a new language or something. I mean, I read that play, that Chekhov play, and I thought it was tragic, dead sad. I mean, Everyone's committing suicide. The Constantine kid's trying to create a masterpiece and everyone's laughing at him. It was tragic. And you know, the next thing I read this blurb, everyone's going on about Chekhov being a comic genius.
Yes, well, it is comedy, but it's not stand-up comedy. Have you ever seen Chekhov in the theatre?
No, does he go?
Have you ever been to the theatre?
No.
You should go.
Hey, Frank, why don't we go tonight?
What, me? Go to the theatre? God, no, I hate the theatre.
What the hell are you sending me there for?
Because
then?
you want to know.
Yeah, well, you come with me.
Oh, what'll I tell Julia?
Well, just tell her you're coming to the theatre with me.
Oh, Julia, I won't be in for dinner tonight. I'm going to the theatre with ravishing Rita.
Sod off.
No, I'm quite serious.
Was she really be jealous?
Rita, if she knew that I was at the theatre with an irresistible thing like you, it would be death and dumb breakfast for a week.
What?
Why not?
I don't know, I just thought...
Look, Rita, a woman who possesses an MA degree is not above common jealousy.
What the hell has she got to be jealous of me for? I mean, I'm certainly not going to rape you in the middle of the seagull.
Oh, what a pity. You could have made theatre exciting for me again.
Oh, come on, Frank, please come with me.
No, Rita, no.
You never tell the truth, do you? You don't. You like evade it with jokes and that.
What do you mean?
Oh, come on, Frank, come with me, we'll have a laugh.
No, Rita.
Yeah, come on, let's ring Julia.
No,
come
no.
on, what's your number?
Rita, we won't bring Julia anyway. Julia's out tonight.
What the hell were you going to do then? Spend the night in the pub?
Yes.
Oh, come on, Frank. Come with me, you'll have a better time than you will in the theatre.
Oh, all right. What is it you want to see?
The importance of being...
Ah, well, the importance isn't playing at the moment.
Yes, it is. I passed the church hall on the bus and there was this big poster that said that there was...
Oh, no, an amateur production. God, you expect me to give up a night at the pub to see an amateur production, often the importance of being earnest.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter who's doing it, does it? I mean, it's the same play, isn't
Yes,
it?
possibly.
Oh, come on, Frank, hurry up. I'm dead excited. I've never seen a live play before.
And there's no guarantee you'll see a live one tonight either.
What, just because they're amateurs, you've got to give them a chance. They've got to start somewhere. They might be great.
Yes.
But you're an awful snob, aren't
Yes.
you? Now, have you seen this play before?
Yes, I have.
All right, now don't go telling me what happened. And tell someone. Have you got a
My God, what's wrong? What's wrong,
Frank,
Rita?
I had to come and tell you. Last night I went to the theatre, a proper one, a professional theatre.
Do you know, for one moment I thought it was something serious.
No, but listen, it was. And when I got me ticket, it was Shakespeare. I thought it was going to be dead boring.
So why did you go in the first place?
Because I wanted to find out. But listen, it wasn't boring. It was bleeding great. Oh, honest to do me, and it was fantastic. I'm going to do an essay on it.
Well, go on. Which one was it?
Out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury.
Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, man, be serious. I learned that today from the book. Look how many times I've bought it, isn't it great? I couldn't get over how exciting it is. Oh, wasn't his wife a cow? And there's a fantastic bit in here where he meets that bluff and he thinks he's all invincible. I was on the edge of a seat in that, but I wanted to shout out, tell Macbeth, warn him.
You didn't though, did you?
No, you can't do that in a theatre, can you? It was dead good though. It was like a thriller.
You've got to go and see more.
I'm gonna. Now, Macbeth? Tragedy. Right. Yeah, well, I just had to come and tell someone who would understand.
Well, then I'm honoured that you chose me.
Yeah, well, I better get back. I left a customer with a perm lotion. If I don't make a move, there'll be another tragedy.
You won't be a tragedy.
Yes, I know this woman. She's dead pussy. If her perm doesn't come out right, there'll be blood and guts everywhere.
It might be quite tragic, but it won't be a tragedy.
What?
The tragedy of the drama has nothing to do with the sort of tragic event you're talking about. Macbeth, you see, is flawed by his ambition, yes?
Yeah,
It is that flaw which leads him to take the inevitable steps towards his own doom, you see. No thanks. Whereas a woman whose hair is reduced to an inch of stubble, or the sort of thing that you read in the paper that's reported as being tragic, man killed by falling tree. It's not a tragedy.
Yeah, it is for the poor sod under the tree.
It's tragic, Rita. It's quite tragic, but it's not a tragedy in the same sense that Macbeth is a tragedy. You see, the tragedy of the drama, tragedy in dramatic terms means inevitable, preordained. Look, without even knowing the story of Macbeth, you wanted to shout out, you wanted to warn him, you wanted to prevent him from going on, didn't you? You wouldn't have been able to. Why?
They would have thrown me out the theatre.
No, what I mean is, your warning would have been ignored. He's warned in the play. But he can't go back, he still goes on. Whereas the poor fellow under the tree hasn't got there by taking any inevitable steps, has he?
No.
No. There is no particular flaw in his nature that has dictated his end. I mean, if he had been warned of the consequences of standing beneath that tree, he wouldn't have done it, would he?
So Macbeth brings it on himself.
Yes. He goes blindly on and on. And with every step he takes, he is spinning one more piece of thread that will make up the total network of his inevitable tragedy, you see.
I think so. You know, Frank, I'm not used to thinking like this.
It's quite easy.
Oh, it is for you. I just thought it was a dead exciting story. But then you tell it and you make me see all these sort of things in it. Oh, it's fun, this tragedy, isn't it? Now, them down there, they already know all about that sort of thing, don't they?
Listen, Rita, what about a proper lunch?
Lunch, oh, crusty customer. She only wanted a demi wave. She's going to come out looking like a friggin' gollywog. Listen, Frank, I was thinking of going to the art gallery tomorrow. It's my half day off. Do you want to come with me?
All right.
All right.
Well, listen, Rita, what are you doing Saturday?
I work.
Well, when you finish work.
I don't know.
Well, I'd like you to come round to the house.
Why?
Well, you see, Julia's organised a few people for dinner.
You want me to come? Why?
What do you think?
I don't know.
You might like it.
Oh,
Well, will you come?
if you want.
What do you want?
Oh, all right, I'll come.
Will you bring Denny?
Oh, I don't know if he'll come.
Ask him.
Why?
Now, what's wrong?
Well, what should I wear?
Out! Out, damn spot! Now, I don't mind. 2 empty seats at the dinner table means more of a vino for me. But Julia is the stage manager type. If we're expecting 8 people to dinner, she expects to see 8. She likes order. Probably why she took me on. It gives her a lot of practice. And having to cope with 6 instead of 8 was extremely hard on Julia. Now, I'm not saying I need any sort of an apology. You don't turn up, that's up to you.
I did apologise.
Oh, yes. Sorry can't come. Scribbled on the back of your essay and thrust through a letterbox. That is hardly an apology, Rita.
What does sorry mean if it's not an apology? When I told Denny we were going to yours, he went mad. We had a big fight about it.
I'm sorry, I didn't realise, but couldn't you have said? Couldn't you have said that was the reason
No,
why...
because that wasn't the reason. I told him if he wasn't going to go, I'd go on my own. And I tried, Frank. All day Saturday in the shop, obviously, you know, thinking what I could wear. I got home trying on 5 different dresses. They all looked bleeding awful. And then I was thinking all this time, you know, what I could say, what I could talk about. I can't remember anything. It's all jumbled up in my head. I can't remember if it's Wilde who's witty, Shaw who's shiny, or who the hell wrote Howard's End.
Oh, God.
And then I got on the wrong bus to your house. Took me ages to find it. When I did, I walked up your drive. I saw you all through the window, you know, sipping on wine, laughing, talking. I couldn't come
Well,
in.
of course you could.
I couldn't. I bought the wrong sort of wine. I knew when I was in the off-licence I was buying the wrong stuff.
Rita, you weren't expected to dress up, and you weren't expected to bring wine.
When you go out, don't you dress up? Don't you
Yes,
drink wine?
but what
well,
does
you
it matter
wouldn't
what-
take sweet sparkling wine, would you?
Rita, it wouldn't have mattered if you came into the house with a bottle of Spanish Blanc.
It was Spanish.
Why can't you relax? You weren't expected to dress up, you weren't expected to buy wine. Don't you realize how people would have seen you if you just breezed in? They would have seen someone who was funny, delightful, charming.
I don't want to be delightful and charming. Funny. What's funny? I don't want to be funny. I want to talk serious with the rest of you. I don't want to come to your house just coming on with a piss and coming on with the funnies because that's the only way I can get in the conversation. I don't want to come to your house just to play a court jester.
You weren't being asked to play that role. I wanted you to be yourself.
I want to be myself. Me. Oh, Frank, what is me? Just some stupid woman who gives us a laugh because she thinks she can learn? Because she thinks that one day she'll be like the rest of them, talking seriously, confidently, with knowledge, you know, living a civilized life? Yeah. Well, she can't be like that, but bring her in because she's good for a laugh.
If you think that was why I invited you, then you can get out now. I invited you because I wanted your company. And if you can't believe that, then I suggest you stop coming here and you start visiting an analyst who can cope with paranoia.
Frank, I'm all right here with you in this room, but when I saw those people you were with, I couldn't come in. I would have seized off. Because I'm a freak, I can't talk to the people I live with anymore. I can't talk to the lights of them on Saturday or with them out there because I can't learn the language. I'm a half caste. I went back to the pub where Denny was and me mother and our Sam and her mates. I decided I was never going to come back here again. I went into the pub, you know, they were singing, all singing some song they just learned from the jukebox. And I stood in that doorway and I just thought, what the frig am I trying to do? Why don't I just pack it in and stay with them, join in with the singing?
Yes, why don't you?
You think I can, don't you? You think because when you pass a pub doorway, you think we're all okay, surviving with the spirit intact. Yeah, well, I did join in with the singing. I didn't ask any questions, I just went right along with it. When I turned around, my mother, she had stopped singing. She started crying. Nobody could get it out of her why she was crying. Everyone just said she was pissed we should get her home. So we did. And on the way I asked her, I said, Mother, why are you crying? She said, because we could be singing better songs than those. 10 minutes later, Denny had her laughing and singing again, pretending she hadn't said it. But Frank, she had. That's why I came back, and that's why I'm going to stay.
Rita, just 1 second. What's that?
Me case.
Oh, where are you going?
Me mother's.
Christ, what's wrong?
When I got home from work, he packed me case. He said either I come off the pill and stop coming here or get out altogether. It was an ultimatum. I didn't get knocked to anything. I explained to him how I had to do this. He says it's warped me, that I, betrayed him, and I suppose I have.
Why have
No, I know he's right. I have. I just couldn't betray myself. He said there's time for an education, but it's not when you're 26 and married.
Rita, where are you going to go?
Oh, I phoned my mother. She said I could go to hers for a week, and then I'll just get a flat, Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Rita, please, come on, sit down, Rita.
I'll be all right. Just give me a minute. What was me Macbeth essay like?
Oh, sod Macbeth.
No, why?
Rita, look,
Come on, I want to know what you thought about it.
Rita, under the circumstances...
It doesn't matter, it doesn't. In the circumstances, I need to go on and talk about it and do it. Come on, Frank. I want to know what you thought.
I really don't know what to say.
Well, try and think of something. Go on. I told you it was rubbish. Is it really rubbish?
No, it's not rubbish. It's a totally honest, passionate account of your reaction to a play. It's an unashamedly emotional statement of a certain experience.
Sentimental?
No, it's too moving for that. But in the terms of what you're asking me to teach you for passing exams, well, don't you see? I just don't...
Oh, say it, Frank! Go on, say it!
Well, in those terms, it's useless. It's worthless. It shouldn't be, but it is. In its own terms, it's wonderful.
It's worthless, you said, Frank. And if it's worthless, you've got to tell me. Because I want to do essays like these on here. I want to pass exams like they do.
Rita, if you are going to write stuff like this, you're going to have to change.
All right. Just tell me what to do.
Rita, I don't know that I want to. I don't know that I want to teach you. Because what you already have is valuable.
Valuable? What's valuable? Frank, the only thing I value is coming here once a week.
Rita, don't you understand that if you are going to write essays like these to pass examinations, you are going to have to suppress, perhaps even abandon your uniqueness? I'm going to have to change you.
But Frank, don't you realize that I want to change?
Oh, good.
Listen, is this your way of telling me that I'll never be able to do
no,
it? No,
of course.
That's what you're saying. Tell me now, and I'll go right now.
No, Rita, of course you're good enough.
You see, Frank, I know that it's difficult for you with someone like me. But with me, you've just got to keep telling me. I will start to take it in, I will. With me, you've got to be dead firm. You won't hurt my feelings, If I do something that's crap, Frank, I don't want pity. Just tell me that it's crap. It's all right. You see, this is crap, so it doesn't matter. We just tear it off, and we throw it in the rubbish bin. We'll start all over again.
What is this vision returning from the city?
Oh, Frank, it was
Welcome back.
fantastic. Honest, it was.
What, London Summer School?
Oh, both. The crowd of us stuck together all week long. We had a great time. Dead late every night. We stayed up drinking, went all round London, went to the theatre, all sorts of second-hand gear in the markets.
Well, then you couldn't have had much chance to do any real work,
What?
did you?
Oh, they never stopped lashing us with it. It was another essay. Lash! Do it again. Lash! Another lecture. Smack! It was dead good, though. When I first got there, I was petrified. I was going to come home because I didn't know anyone. But that first afternoon, I was standing in this library, looking at all the books, pretending I was dead clever. this student comes in and he looks at the books in my hand and he goes, are you fond of fair Lungetti? Frank, it was on the tip of my tongue to say, only when it's served with Parmesan cheese. Frank, I didn't. I held it back. I heard myself say, actually, Actually, I'm not too familiar with the American poets. Frank, he would have been dead proud of me. He started talking to me about the American poets. We sat around for ages. He wasn't even one of my official tutors. Oh, and then we had this lecture in this big hall, 2,000 of us there. After the lecture, this professor asked if anyone had a question. Frank, I stood up. Honest to God, I stood up. I don't know what possessed me. 2,000 people watching me stand. I was going to sit down again, but everyone's watching me stand, so I did it. I asked a question.
Well?
What?
What was the question?
Oh, I don't know now. I forget now. After that, you couldn't keep me down. I was asking questions all week long. I think the first one must have been about Chekhov, because I'm dead familiar with him now. Well, go on. Tell us what France was like. What you did.
Well, there isn't very much to tell, really.
Yeah, well, I've never been abroad. Tell me what you did.
It was a bit hot.
No, tough. Packed it up.
Oh.
Yeah, did you drink?
A little, yes.
Did you write?
A little.
Oh, can I read it?
Oh, yes, perhaps. One day, perhaps.
So, you wrote a little, you drank a little, is that all?
Yes, and Julia left me.
What?
Oh, it had nothing to do with the obvious, no. It was not caused by ratatouille. This time it was caused by something called œuf en cocotte.
What?
Eggs, my dear, eggs. You see, nature in her wisdom cursed me with a hatred for the egg, be it cocotte, Benedict, Florentine, just plain hard-boiled. Julia said nature was wrong. I defended nature, Julia left. Well, let's just say it started that way. Anyway, that's most of what happened this summer, and anyway, you're back. Even Julia is back.
Oh, she is, so it's all right then.
Oh, yes, perfect. I get the feeling that we should stay together forever. Or until she discovers, our crazy.
Does that mean eggs? Trish was going on about those.
Trish?
Is that all it is? Trish, me flatmate. Oh, God. Has it been that long since I've seen your Frank? Yeah, Trish moved in with me before I went to summer school.
Well, is she a good flatmate?
She's great. She's dead classy, She's just got taste. She's like you, Frank. She's just got it. Everything in the flat is dead unpretentious. There's just plants and books everywhere. Oh, Frank. Frank, I am having the time of me life. I am, I even feel young again.
Well, my dear, 26 is hardly old.
Yeah, I know that, but I feel young like them down there, and I can be young. Oh, Frank, I bought you a present back from London. It isn't much, but I thought, well, here. Go on, see what it says. It's engraved.
Must only be used for poetry. By strictest order, Rita.
I thought it might be a gentle hint.
Gentle.
Well, every time you try and write a note or a letter with a pen, it won't work, because you read the inscription, you feel dead guilty because you're not writing poetry.
Oh, Rita, thank you.
It's a pleasure, Frank. Well, come on, what are we going to do this term? Come on, let's do a dead good poet.
Well, we have one, of course. I was going to introduce you to...
Hey, Frank, let's go do the tutorial down there.
Down where?
Down there on the lawn.
My dear, no one sits on the lawn this
Yeah,
time.
they do. Look, there's some of them out there right now. Come on, Frank.
Look, they'll have wet bounds.
What's a wet ball? You can sit on a bench. Come on,
Look,
Frank.
Rita, I absolutely protest.
Why?
Because, like Dracula, I have an aversion to sunlight.
Right. Open a window at least.
Oh, yes, by all means, go ahead. Open a window if you must.
It won't bleed and budge, will it?
I'm not surprised it hasn't been opened in generations.
Yeah, well, you need to get some air in this room, Frank. This room needs airing.
This room does not need air, thank you very much.
Of course it does. A room is like a plant.
What? A room is like a plant.
Yeah, it needs air.
Oh, yes, and water too, presumably. If we're going to make an analogy, let's take it the whole way. Let's bring in a watering can and water the carpet. Let's bring in 2 tons of soil and a bag of fertilizer. Or maybe we could take cuttings and germinate other little rooms. My dear, you said it. Distinctly, you said a room is like a plant.
Oh, well.
Well, what?
Well, any analogy will break down eventually, Frank.
Aha! And some will break down sooner than others. Now, come on, where's that good poet you wanted? I was going to introduce you to Manny, as I said, but I don't know where he was. I'm sure you found.
Frank, you're not still on this stuff, are you?
Did I say I wasn't?
No, but
But what?
why'd you do it when you've got so much going for you?
It is precisely because I have got so much going for me that I do it. Through life's rich and frantic whirl, I need the booze to help me step delicately through it.
It'll kill you, Frank.
Oh, I thought you weren't interested in reforming me,
I'm
Rita.
not. It's just...
Just what?
I just thought you'd started reforming yourself.
Under your influence. But Rita, what do I do if I repent and reform, and you, my influence, are no longer here? What do I do? When in appalling sobriety, I watch you, my influence, walk away and disappear. Forever.
Who says I'm going to disappear?
Oh, you've got to, Rita, you must.
Why have I got to? This course could go on for years. When I get through this one, I might even get in the proper university here.
Oh, and we'll all live happily ever after. My dear, your going is as inevitable as...
Macbeth.
Yes, as tragedy. But it won't be tragedy because I shall be glad to see you go.
Thank you very much. Will you really?
What? Be glad to see you go. Oh, my dear. I don't want to see you spend the rest of your life in a room like this, do I?
You know, you can be a real misery sometimes, can't you? I was dead happy a minute ago and then you start. Now I feel like I'm having a bad night in the mortuary.
Oh, well, good. Here's something to cheer you up. Here's that dead good poet you want. Blake.
Blake, William Blake.
The man himself. Oh, you love him, Rita. They overcomplicate Blake. You will understand. You will love him.
I know.
What? Here, read this.
Oh, Rose, thou art sick. The invisible worm that flies in the night in the howling storm has found out thy bed of crimson joy, and his dark secret love does thy life destroy.
You know it.
Yeah, we did him at summer school.
Blake at summer school? You weren't supposed to do Blake at summer school, were you?
Nah, but we had this one lecturer there who was a Blake freak. He was on about it every day. Everything he said, honest, everything was related to Blake. He couldn't even get his dinner from the refectory without relating it to Blake. Blake and chips. He was dead good though. When he left, we gave him a present, and in the card we wrote that poem, you know, Sick Rose, but we changed it about a bit. It was, oh Rose, thou art sick, just mangled and dead. Since the rotten gardener pruned off thy head. We thought he was going to be knocked, but he wasn't. He loved it. He said, what was it? Parody is merely a compliment masquerading as humour.
Well, so you've done Blake. And have you covered all the songs of innocence and experience?
Of course, you don't do Blake without doing Innocence and Experience, do you?
No, of course. Hello, Rita, you're late.
I know. I am terribly sorry. Unavoidable.
Was it really? What's the matter with your voice?
Nothing is wrong with my voice. I have merely decided to talk properly. As Trish says, there is not much point in discussing beautiful literature in an ugly voice.
Well, you don't have an ugly voice. At least you didn't have. Talk properly.
Frank, I am talking properly. I have to practice constantly in everyday situations.
Are you going to talk like that for the rest of this tutorial?
Trish says that no matter how difficult I may find it, I must persevere.
Well, will you kindly tell Trish that I am not giving a tutorial to an android.
I am not an android.
Rita, talk properly.
Frank, I have to persevere in order that I shall.
Rita, just be yourself.
I am myself, Frank.
What's that?
What?
On your back?
Oh, it's just grass.
Grass.
Yeah, I got here early today. I was talking to some of the students down there on the lawn.
What? You were talking to the students?
Don't sound so surprised. I can talk now, you know, Frank.
I know. Strikes me that there was a time you were rather wary of them.
God knows why. For students, they don't half come out with some rubbish, you know.
You're telling me?
Yeah, the only reason I got talking to them in the first place was, as I walked past, I heard one of them say that as a Noel, he preferred Lady Chatley to Sons and Lovers. I thought, either I can ignore him and keep walking, or I can put him straight. So I put him straight. I walked on over and said, excuse me, I couldn't help hearing the rubbish you were spouting about Lawrence. You should have seen the faces on them, Frank. I said that trying to compare Lady Chatley with Sons and Lovers is like trying to compare sparkling wine with champagne. The next thing, there was this heated discussion with me right in the middle of it.
I thought you said that the student preferred Chatley as a novel.
He did.
So he wasn't actually suggesting that it was superior.
No, not at first, but then he did. He walked right into it.
And you finished him off, did you, Rita?
Frankie was an idiot. He was asking for it. His argument just crumbled. It wasn't only me who thought so. Everyone else agreed with me. Oh, there was one really mad one with them. I haven't been talking to them 5 minutes. He's inviting me to go abroad. They're all going to the south of France for the Christmas holidays. Slumming it.
Well, you can't go.
Huh?
You've got your exams.
The exams are before Christmas.
Well, then you've got your results.
I can't go anyway, Frank.
Why?
Well, it's all right for them. They can just jump into a big van and go away. I can't. Tiger, they called him. That mad one. I mean, I think his real name's Tyson, but they were all calling him Tiger.
Is there any point in going on with this?
Huh?
Is there any point in working towards an examination if you are going to fall in love and set off for the south of France?
What? Fall in love with who? My God, Frank. I've only been talking to students for 5 minutes. I've heard of matchmaking. This is ridiculous.
Will you kindly stop burbling on about Mr. Tyson?
I'm not burbling on. Well, what's it like?
It wouldn't look out of place with those.
Honest?
Dead honest. You tell him, wouldn't you? You tell him where to get off.
Tell who, Frank?
Students. Students reported me. Me. I was the best lecturer I'd ever given.
Were you pissed?
Pissed? Ha ha! I was glorious. I fell off the rostrum twice.
Sack you?
Sack? God, no. That would involve making a decision. Pissed is all right. To get the sack, it would mean rape on a grand scale. And not just the students either. That's just a minor misdemeanor. For dismissal, it would have to be nothing less than buggering the bursar. They suggested a sabbatical, a year, 10, Europe or America. I suggested Australia might be more apt. The illusion was lost on them.
You know, you really are mad, Frank.
Completely off my cake, I know.
Frank, even if you don't think about yourself, what about your students?
What about the students?
Well, it's hardly fair on there if their lecturer's so pissed he's falling off the rostrum.
I might have been pissed, my dear, but at least I went down talking and I came up talking. I never missed a syllable. And they got to complain about it.
Well, maybe they did it for your own good.
Yes, or maybe they did it because they're a bunch of mealy-mouthed pricks who cannot recognize a point if you beat them round the head with one. Abstinence, I said to them. Abstinence, I said, means getting the rhyme wrong. They looked at me as though I'd desecrated Wordsworth's tomb.
Look, we'll discuss the blank essay next week, and Frank...
Rita, don't go!
Frank, you're enough...
Rita, don't go!
And I'll leave it with you...
Rita, look! Sober, Rita. Sober. Rita, I want to talk to you about this.
Is there something wrong with it?
No. You seem to assume that the poem is about sexuality.
But it is.
Is it?
Well, it's certainly like a richer poem if it's interpreted in that way.
Richer? Why richer? We discussed it. The Blossom is a simple, uncomplicated piece about blossom, as seen from a child's
Yeah,
eye.
in one sense. But it's like that poem about the rose. It makes it more rewarding when you see that it works on a number of levels.
So, go on.
Frank, you might say one thing, but Trish and me and some others were talking the other night, and what came out of our discussion about Blake was that apart from the simple surface value of Blake's poetry, there's also this,
Well, please go on, expound.
like vein of concealed meaning. I mean, if the poem's just a poem about the blossom, it's not much of a poem, is it?
So you seem to think that the poem improves by being interpreted in this way.
Is me essay wrong,
No.
Frank?
No, it's not wrong. I don't like it.
Well, you're being subjective.
Yes, I suppose
If
I
it wasn't
am.
an exam, what sort of mark would it get?
A good one.
What the hell are you saying then?
What I'm saying is that it is quite up to the minute, trendy stuff about Blake, but there is nothing new in it.
Or maybe, Frank, you're saying there are none of your views in it.
Yes, maybe that is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but when I first came to you, you never gave me any views. You let me find me out.
And your views I still value, Rita, but those aren't your views.
But you told me not to have a view. You told me to be objective and to consult recognized authorities, and that's what I've done. I've spoken to other people, I've read all the books, and after consulting a wide variety of opinion, I've come up with these conclusions.
All right, all right.
Look, Frank, I don't have to go along 100% with your views on Blake, do I? I mean, I can have a mind of my own, can't I?
I sincerely hope so, my dear.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means be careful.
What do you mean, be careful? I can look after myself. Just because I can do it now, and I can read what I want to read and understand it without having to come running to you every 5 minutes, you start telling me to be careful.
Because I care for you. I want you to care for yourself.
Yeah, Frank, I care for you too, but you've got to leave me alone a bit. I'm not an idiot now, Frank. I don't need you to hold my hand as much. I can do it more on my own now. I am careful. I know what I'm doing. Just stop treating me the same as when I first walked in here. I understand it now. I know the difference between Harold Robbins and Somerset Maugham, but you're still treating me like I'm hung up in Ruby Fruit Jungle. You understand, don't you?
Entirely, my dear.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you know, I got around to reading it. Ruby Fruit Jungle, it's excellent.
Oh, Frank! Of its type, it's quite interesting, but it's hardly excellent. I'm sorry. Am I too late then? We were talking, I didn't notice the time.
Talking?
Yeah. If it'll go in my favour, we were talking about Shakespeare.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
Am I too late then? Okay, I promise I'll be on time next time.
Rita, don't
I'm
go.
sorry, I've wasted
Rita,
your
sit
time,
down.
right?
Sit down. When you were so late, I phoned the shop.
What shop?
The shop where you were. Oh, I should say where you worked.
Oh, I haven't worked there in ages. I work in a bistro now.
Yes, I know. You didn't tell me.
Didn't I?
No,
Thought I had. I was telling someone. Sorry.
wasn't me.
What's wrong?
It seems to me that there was a time you told me everything.
I thought I had told you.
No. Do you want a drink?
Who cares if I've left hairdressing to go work in a bistro?
I care. You don't. The drink mind if I
Why
do.
do you care about boring details like that, Frank? That's just boring, insignificant details.
Is it boring?
Yeah, that's why I couldn't stand working in a hairdresser any longer. Boring, insignificant detail. On and on and on and on.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't want to talk about irrelevant rubbish anymore.
What do you talk about in that bistro of yours? Cheers.
Everything.
Everything?
Yeah.
Ah.
We talk about things that are important, Frank. We leave out the irrelevant rubbish for those who want it.
And is Mr. Tyson one of your customers?
A lot of students come in there, and yes, he is. You're not going to give me another warning, are you,
Will it
Frank?
do any good?
Look, for your information, I do find Tiger fascinating, like I find a lot of the people I mix with fascinating. They're young, and they're passionate about things that matter. They're not trapped. They're too young for that, and I like to be with them.
Really? Then perhaps you don't want to waste your time coming here.
Oh, don't be stupid. Look, I'm sorry I was late, but I've got to go now. I'm meeting Trish at 7. We're going to see a production of The Seagull.
Yes, well then check up, go. You can barely spend a minute here any longer.
That's not true.
Last week you never showed up at all. Just a telephone call to say you had to cancel.
Well, Frank, there are a lot of things happening right now, and it is much harder.
Well, like I said, if you want to stop
For
coming...
God's sake, I don't want to stop coming here. I've got to come here. What about me exam?
I wouldn't worry about those. You're going to sail through those. But if you feel that you've got to put in the odd appearance out of sentimentality, I'd rather you spared me that.
Look, Frank, if you could stop pouring this junk down your throat in the hopes that it might make you feel more like a poet, you may be able to start talking about things that matter rather than where I do or don't work. Then it might be worth coming here.
And are you capable of recognizing what does or does not matter, Rita?
I understand literary criticism, Frank, and when I come here, that's what we're supposed to do.
Literary criticism, good. I'd like an essay on this lot by next week.
What is it?
Just pure criticism. No subjectivity, no sentimentality, pure criticism. A critical assessment of a lesser-known English poet. Me. I'm not seeing it.
Are you sober?
If you mean, am I still this side of comprehension, then yes.
Good, good. Because I want you to hear this only when you're sober. Frank, these are brilliant. They're fantastic. You've got to start writing again. They're brilliant. They're witty, profound, full of style. Frank, you've got to start writing again.
Well,
it's not only me who thinks so.
Tell me more.
No,
Tell me
they
again.
are. Oh, Trish and I sat up and read them last night. She agrees with me. Frank, why'd you stop? Why'd you stop when you can produce work like this? I mean, we sat up most of the night just talking about it, you know. At first we just saw it as contemporary poetry in its own right, you know, something particular to this century. But what makes it more, what did she say, resonant than purely contemporary poetry is that one can see a direct line through to 19th century traditions of like wit and classical allusions.
That's marvellous, Rita. Just think if I'd shown it to you when you first came here.
I know, I wouldn't have been able to understand it, Frank.
I know, you'd have tossed it across the room and dismissed it as a pile of shit, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but Frank, I couldn't have understood it then because I wouldn't have been able to recognize and understand the allusions.
Oh, I've done a good job on you, haven't I?
It's true, Frank, I can see now.
You know, Rita, I think like you, I'm going to change my name. From now on, I shall insist upon being called Mary. Mary Shelley. Do you get that illusion, Rita?
Oh, what are you talking?
She wrote a little Gothic number called Frankenstein.
So?
My dear, this pile of pyrotechnical, self-conscious illusion is worthless, talentless shit. And could be recognized as such by anyone with an ounce of common sense. Wit. My dear, you'll find more wit in the telephone book and probably more insight. Its one advantage over the telephone book is that it's easier to rip. It is talentless, worthless, and without style.
It's not!
Oh, I don't expect you to believe me, Rita. You recognize the hallmark of literature now, don't you? Oh my God, I can't bear this. I can't bear it.
Can't be what, Frank?
You, my dear, you!
I'll tell you what you can't bear, Mr. Self-pitying piss artist. What you can't bear is that I'm educated now. can no longer bounce round Daddy's knee and watch her stare back in wide-eyed wonder at everything he has to say. I'm educated. I have what you have, and you don't like it because you'd rather see me as the peasant I once was. Oh, God, you're just like the rest of them. You like to keep your natives thick because that way they'll always look charming and delightful when I don't need you. I've got a room full of books. I know what plays to see, what clothes to wear, what wine to buy. I know what papers and books to read. I can do without you.
Oh, and have you come all this way for so very, very little?
Oh, it's little to you, isn't it? It's little to you who squanders every opportunity at Loxton and takes it all for granted.
Ooh, found a culture, have you, Rita? Found a new song to sing? No, you found a different song. And on your lips, it's shrill and hollow and tuneless.
Rita. Rita. Nobody calls me Rita anymore. I dropped that pretentious crap when I saw it for what it was. You stupid. Nobody calls me...
Oh, what is it now then? Virginia or Charlotte or Jane or Emily? Yes, I think she works there. Rita White. Oh, no, sorry. What is it? Yes, Susan White. No? Oh, thank you. Trish, is it? Yes. Yes, this is Frank. I'd like to speak to Rita. Rita. Oh, no, Susan. Yes, I'm a tutor. Yes, you see, I've entered her for exam. She doesn't know the time or the place. Could you ask her to call in, please? Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Frank. Why, they sacked you.
Not quite.
Well, why are you packing all your books away?
Australia made rather a night of it a few weeks back.
Do you remember the bursar?
Metaphorically. And as it was metaphorical, the sentence was reduced from the sack to 2 years in Australia, hardly a reduction.
What did Julia
sentence.
say?
Bon voyage.
She's not going with you. Frank, what you going to do?
Australia's a paradise for the likes of me.
Oh, come on, Frank.
Serious. Didn't you know that the Australians name their favourite drink after a famous literary character? Foster's lager, they call it. Of course, they got the spelling wrong, like you once rather did.
Oh, Frank, be serious.
Why the hell did you come back here?
I came back to tell you that you're a good teacher. Thank you for entering me in the exam.
It's all right. I know what had come to mean to you.
You didn't want me to do it, did you? Hey? You would have loved it if I'd written Frank knows all the answers and handed in me paper. Yeah, I nearly did it all. When the invigilator said begin, I turned over me paper with the rest of them. And they were all scribbling away against the clock. I just sat there looking at the first question. Frank, do you know what it was? Suggest ways in which one might cope with the staging difficulties in the production of Ibsen's
Well, you should have had no trouble with that one.
I did, though. I thought about all you'd said, and, you know, I tried to ignore it. I tried to pretend you were wrong. Frank, you think you did nothing for me. You think you gave me nothing. You think that I ended up with a load of quotes and empty phrases. Well, yes, I did. But that was not your doing. Oh, no, it was me. I was so hungry. I wanted it all so much that I didn't want it to be questioned. I told you I was stupid. It's like Trish, you know, my flatmate. I mean, I always thought she was so cool and together, you know. I come home last week and she tried to top herself. Magic, isn't it? She spends one half of her life eating whole foods and health foods, trying to make herself live longer. The other half trying to kill herself. She sat there, you know, thinking about it all. Then I picked up my pen and I started.
And you wrote, do it on the radio.
I could have done, and you would have been dead proud of me if I'd done that and come rushing back to tell you, wouldn't you? But Frank, I didn't. I had a choice. I did the exam.
I know. A good pass as well.
Yeah. And you know something? It might all be worthless in the end. But I had a choice, and I chose me. And it's only because of what you had given me that I had that choice, and that's what I came back to tell you, that you're a good teacher.
Rita, do you know, I hear some very good things about Australia. They say things are just starting there. You know, why don't you come along too? It might be worth our while leaving a place that's just finishing for one that's just starting.
Isn't that called jumping a sinking ship?
And so what? Do you think we could keep it afloat?
Oh, you know, Frank, if you had threepence on the back of each of these bottles, you could buy Australia.
You're being evasive.
I know. Tiger's asked me to go to him and with him to the south of
Well,
France.
what are you going to do? Will you go?
I don't know. He's a bit of a wanker, really. But I've never been abroad, and of course my mother's asked me to go down to hers, and
Well, what will you do?
you know, I might go to France, I might go to my mother's, I might even have a baby. I don't know, I'll choose. I don't know.
Well, whatever you do, I'd like you to have this.
What is it?
It's a dress. I bought it for an educated woman friend of mine. I don't know if it fits because when I bought it, I was a bit pissed.
An educated woman, Frank? Is this what you call a scholarly neckline?
You see, when I bought it, I put rather more stress on the word woman than educated.
Frank, all I've ever done is take from you. I have never given you anything.
Oh, no, Rita, that's not true.
No, it's true, Frank. I never ever thought there was anything that I had to give you. But Frank, there is one thing I can give you. Come on, sit down there. Go on, sit down. You see, I'm going to start to take 10 years off of you.
Ouch!